Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. What if Naruto was god of will and had harem with Godess? Movie. A child of prophecy is not what most people believe though. The truth is a child of prophecy is created when there is a dispute between beings of higher existence. Some call them titans, primordials, cosmic, kamis, kais, and many other names for beings of near immortality with massive power. Children of prophecy are used to settle disputes between these beings without risking the life of these cosmic beings. However, one of these beings named Chaos could not stand to see these children of prophecy suffer because of disputes between rival gods. For this he created a champion, one who travels the cosmos looking for the children of prophecy and helping them when the gods who can't settle things themselves ignore the pain and suffering of the child of prophecy they created, which brings us to this moment in time. Because this is the moment when the foundation that was being put down to create Naruto life and place in it was changed. Let's take a look, shall we? Naruto blinked as he opened his eyes and sat up, finding himself on a beach at night, with water as far as he could see and a full moon in the sky above him. Blinking again, Naruto thought to himself, how did I get here? A female voice from behind him said that would be my fault. Startling Naruto and causing him to turn around, and he saw a girl who looked to be about 15 years with black hair, wearing a green pair of biker shorts and a green button-up shirt. She also had a silver cloak over her clothes with a hunting bow across her back that was also silver in color. Naruto looked at the girl confused and saw her silver eyes and said, "Who are you?" The girl said, "My name is Sally Jackson and you're Naruto Uzumaki, right?" Naruto nods his head and asked, "Do I know you?" Sally shook her head and said, "No, I'm not from around here, and when I say that I mean I'm not from your world or even universe." Naruto's eyes widened a moment and said, "Yeah, right." Sally smirked and snapped her fingers, and the next moment Naruto noticed everything was quiet and he looked around and found himself standing on a stone ground that had no plants anywhere, and Sally said, "Look up over there, Naruto," as she pointed toward her left. Naruto frowned a moment before his eyes widened as he saw a sight he's never seen before, and Sally said, "That's your world and we are currently on the moon over your world. As for how this is possible, I'm a goddess, and remember, before you doubt, there are no such thing as gods, that the Yondaime summoned the Shinigami to help him seal the Kyuubi inside you the day you were born." Naruto bit his lip and asked, "Why? Why are we here? What does a goddess want with me? Not that I believe you, but..." Sally smiled and said, "Naruto, think of gods as ninja. There is the creation class ninja or kages. Then there are the fate level or junin. Then domain level or chunin. The Shinigami is one of those. Then you have the nature spirits and minor gods who would be genin level. My mother was a chunin level and my father was originally an academy student level who moved up to chunin level but was also more Anbu Black Ops in a way. I was born as a genin, but I was taken as a student of my kage, and now I am like your Sannin. You know, the toad Sannin Jiraiya who trained the Yondaime when he was a genin. I'm that level." Naruto's eyes widened as he heard this, and Sally said, "Now just like there are several kages in your world who are the leader of their different villages, there are other gods in other worlds who are the kage, junin, chunin, and genin of their worlds, and sometimes there are wars between them and the gods of other worlds. When this happens, the gods usually pick a child of prophecy and have them do missions, and depending on if the child succeeds the missions or fails them will decide who wins the war between the gods. You, Naruto, are a child of prophecy." Naruto gasped as he heard this, and Sally looked sadly at him and said, "My father was originally the child of prophecy for my world and was forced to fight several wars between the gods. Because of this, my kage, Lord Chaos, decided that enough was enough. That the gods have gone too far because they don't care about the pain and suffering a child of prophecy has to endure, and almost no child of prophecy is ever given an actual happy ending. He chose me to go from world to world looking for those like you and my father, and using my powers to help them if I see the child of prophecy is getting screwed over by the gods." Naruto bit his lip and said, "How? If what you are saying is true, then how am I getting screwed over?" Sally said, "Remember how I mentioned the Shinigami and the Yondaime. When you die because you have been touched by the Shinigami, your soul will be consumed by him. It don't matter who or what you do in your life, when you die you automatically will be punished by having your soul ate by him." Naruto paled as he heard this, and Sally said, "That is only one of many ways you have been and are being screwed. That is why I am here offering to help you." Naruto pursed his lips and asked, "How can you help me?" Sally smirked and said, "Do you like movies? Let's watch a movie together and then when it is over we can talk. Come on." As she snapped her fingers, in the next moment Naruto found himself in a movie house and Sally was in the seat next to him holding a couple of glasses of soda and a tub of popcorn was on her lap and she said soda, popcorn. Naruto looked around and said where are we? Sally said we are in a movie house and we are going to watch a movie called Edge of Tomorrow, Live. Die. Repeat. After we watch it then I will answer your questions. Oh look, the movie's starting. As she took a sip out of one of the sodas while shoving the other in Naruto's hand. 2 hours later Naruto said that was a pretty cool movie. Sally smiled and said that's part of how I'm going to help you Naruto. As she snapped her fingers and Naruto found himself back on the beach he was on when he first woke up. Sally said the Shinigami can't take your soul until you die. Did you see how every time the main character in that movie died he didn't die but would return to the same day? Naruto nods and Sally said since you learned Kage Bunshin no Jutsu earlier tonight did you have time to read the little fact about how when a Kage Bunshin dies its memories and any remaining chakra would be returned to you meaning everything it learned mentally would be returned to you, just like the guy in that movie. Naruto's eyes widened and Sally looked up into the sky and said this island we are on, it was once located somewhere else in your world. I used my powers to transport it somewhere else just like how I transported us to the moon and then to that movie house before returning us here. Do you know why I have told you about this island and why I have moved it? Naruto shook his head no and Sally said this island was called the Island of Whirlpool and it was the home of the Uzumaki clan. Naruto's eyes widened and said I have a clan. Sally said there are only a few Uzumakis left in the world and you actually have the highest concentration of Uzumaki blood in you out of everyone else in the world since both your parents had a connection to the Uzumaki clan with your mother originally coming from this island while your grandfather on your dad's side was the grandson of an Uzumaki woman. Before you ask, yes I do know who your parents are and they both died jumping in front of the Kyuubi before it was sealed inside you. Your parents sealed a Kage Bunshin of themselves inside of you that will activate later and allow you to meet them. Think of it as a birthday present from your parents. One that I won't ruin by telling you who they are. Also I'm forbidden from telling you. Naruto frowned a moment and asked why are you forbidden from telling me? Sally smiled slightly and said it's because of the loophole I am using to help you escape from the Shinigami's control as well as how I am going to help you. See. When a god or goddess has a child with a mortal, that child is called a demigod and they often get some kind of power from their godly parent. The Uchiha clan come from the eldest son of your Kage class god while the Senju clan come from the other son of the same god. The Uzumaki clan come from the daughter of the same god as well so those three clans are cousins and they each got a power from their godly parent that is now a bloodline but was once called a divine bloodline but over the years has thinned out. Taking a deep breath Sally said your grandfather was named Nawaki Senju and he was the grandson of the Shodem Hokage Hashirama Senju. You have both the Uzumaki and Senju bloodline in you but it's very weak from all the years since your great-grandparents were first born as demigods. The way I am going to help you is by making you my champion on this world which would also give you a bloodline. I am merging your two other bloodlines with the one I am giving you to make a new one. I am also merging the Kage Bunshin Jutsu with it as well so that when you are killed your remaining soul, memory, chakra, and vitality will be sent back to join with your younger self and you will wake up first thing in the morning. The day after you beat Mizuki and learned the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. In order to do this I had to get your godly Kage who is also your family to agree and he did but he forbid me from telling you about your parents for now. He, unlike most gods actually does care for you and the people of this world. It's just. Naruto saw Sally frown and asked just what? Sally sighed and said the reason you are a child of prophecy is because your ancestor, the creation god for your world is the man known as the Sixth Realm Sage. The sage has a younger brother who wants to take over this world. It's his younger brother that is the major cause of the pain and suffering that you will face in your life. The sage agreed to let me help you with 3 conditions. The first is I can't tell you who your parents are. That is something you would have to find out on your own. Snapping her fingers caused a couple of chairs to appear and she sat down in one and motioned for Naruto to take the other before she said the second is your ancestor wants to see world peace. That does not mean he expects you to bring world peace. It's just that he knows that with the power you will gain that you will become powerful and will learn a lot about fighting. The problem with this is most people who focus on getting stronger and fighting can't live normal lives when they are not fighting and will then go out of their way to cause fights. That is actually what is happening with his brother. He was a fighter who loves to fight and can't stand peace. Your ancestor does not want that to happen to you, so he agreed that if I agreed to teach you some things that I know that are not fighting, then I could help you. Naruto tilted his head to the side and asked what kind of things. Sally said that is what brings us to this island. I have made it where the rest of the world believes the island of Whirlpool has sunk below the ocean surface and has been lost while I secretly moved it here. I have also used my power over time to make this island exist outside of the time reset. You know how that guy in the movie always had to start over from the beginning and gather his resources and stuff? Well, this island is connected to your bloodline, meaning that if you have something here before you are killed, it will still be here when you wake up. That also means that if you someday start a family and have children, your children can stay here on this island when the reset happens and they won't die or cease to exist. It's also where you could go when you want some time alone. You can come here and live your life for a while and tell the rest of the world to go censor themselves. Naruto smiled slightly at that, and Sally said, as for what I can teach you, well, this island needs a lot of work if you and your future family will live here. I am going to teach you about gardening, fishing, swimming, painting, cooking, dancing, music, woodworking, blacksmithing, taking care of animals, and many other things. I'm not going to make you a master of these skills, but I will give you enough practice and training where if you get tired of being a ninja, you could live a life as a blacksmith or a cook, or a singer, or painter, or who knows what. You will be the master of your own destiny. Naruto said, but how will you teach me that? Konoha will notice I am gone. And Sally smiled and said, have you already forgot your new bloodline, Naruto? Time is on our side. Naruto blinked and said, oh yeah, as he rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Sally said, anyways, back to what we were talking about. The third thing I had to agree to was that when you face the sage's brother, you can't kill him. Naruto's eyes widened and said, what? What do you mean when I face him? Sally sighed and said, Naruto, he wants a war. He knows that your ancestor has chosen a child of prophecy. He doesn't know who, but he suspects it might have been one of his legacy. That is why he caused the Kyuubi attack on Konoha, since so many of his brother's legacy lived there. He will come for you and will try to destroy Konoha. You will meet him someday. I don't know when or how, but you will have to learn to defeat him without killing him. Most likely sealing him away. Now that you know the 3 requirements your ancestors has set forward, do you agree to allow me to help you and agree to his terms? Naruto looked at Sally a moment before he said, I accept. Sally smiled and said, good, let's get started. A 12-year-old Naruto blinked as he found himself in his apartment in Konoha, and he sat up and looked around before he said, what the hell, what just happened? Naruto tensed as he saw a figure with horns on his head appear in front of Naruto and said, hello Naruto Uzumaki, I am the Shinigami. Naruto paled as he heard this and asked, what are you doing here? I thought. The Shinigami said, you're alive, for now. Your gift from that girl has saved you, but you saw that blinding flash. Naruto nods his head and said, what was that? The Shinigami said, that was what happens when several gods conspire together to destroy another god by erasing them from existence. The fates of Sally world as well as several other gods and goddesses from different places including this world conspired together to stop her because they fear her and her domain. Their plan almost worked except for one thing. She was bonded to you and through you, me. Right now I am protecting her and trying to help her recover from the condition that attack put her in. Naruto, who had a worried look on his face, asked, is she going to be alright? The Shinigami said, that depends on you. Naruto blinked and asked, what do you mean? What can I do? The Shinigami said, gods and goddesses gain our power by the power of belief in us or our domain. Sally's domain is the belief in the power of children of prophecies. You are the first child of prophecy Sally had contact with that is not her family, so you are the one who will have to help increase her power. Right now she has the power of one, me. I have belief in you, but that belief is conditional. As long as I believe in you, then you keep Sally alive. Naruto pursed his lips and said, what do you want me to do? You said your belief in me was conditional, so what conditions do you want? The Shinigami said, because of that seal on your stomach I have seen everything you have seen and done. I know what she taught you as well as what I believe she wanted you to become. If you were able to reach the goals she secretly wanted you to reach, then you would have no problem reaching the goals I want as well. Naruto asked, which is? The Shinigami said, I am tired of the way the people of this world have perverted my domain with the blessings of other gods. They have even gone so far as to make me a pawn to be used by the mortals of this world to do their bidding. The Yondaime Hokage did that when he summoned me to seal the Kyuubi in you and sold your soul to me. causing Naruto to flinch at hearing that info again. The Shinigami said, which is why I am here. I want you to use what Sally taught you and become powerful enough to defeat not only the sage's brother but also the sage and the true power behind them, their mother. I want you to lock them away. I want you to create a black soul crystal like you learned from all those hours Sally and you played Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls in order to learn to use your new and improved bloodline. Think of the sage, his brother, and their mother as prime evils who need to be locked away in the black soul crystal in that game. This will just be a real-life version of it. Naruto looked in thought and said, if and that's a big if. If I can somehow find a way to do that, then what? The Shinigami said, your little island the girl was going to give you to use as your main base, it doesn't exist anymore. The original whirlpool is back where it was, still damaged as it was before Sally took it and repaired it for your use. She did however teach you how to make pocket dimensions. That means that you can still in a way make your own private bases around the world. If you get the 3 prime evils of this world I have told you about, I will not only turn a blind eye to you and the family you create, allowing you to continue your game Sally has started, but I will also help Sally recover and offer her my support in not only regaining what was stolen from her but also help her in her duties for her domain. Naruto asked, what about the fates of this world? If I take out the Shinigami laughed a moment before he said, Naruto, the 3 prime evils I want you to defeat are the current fates of this world. At one time they were like you are now, but then they schemed, plotted, stole, and killed in order to gain power for themselves before they replaced the fates of this world and then went after the other gods of this world. Truth is, I am one of the last gods of this world, with the others either fleeing, enslaved, or killed by those 3. That is why they go out of their way to pervert my domain, because I am one of the only ones left that can defend myself against them, but the more they pervert my domain the weaker I become. This world and the evil it has become is because of them. They are the prime evils. Shinigami held out his hand and said, so, do we have a deal? Naruto said, will my bloodline work the way Sally showed me it would, and everything else is the way Sally told me except the island? Shinigami nods his head and Naruto said, all right. Just take care of Sally, please. As he shook the Shinigami's hand. Naruto felt a small shiver run through his body and Death said, it is now the day after you defeated Mizuki. You have to take your shinobi picture today and meet your team tomorrow. You and I are the only 2 people who know Sally. Because of what happened, everyone else has been forced to forget about her, including her family. If she is ever to see her family again, it is up to you now, Naruto, to become the thing she believed you could. Naruto looked at the Shinigami and asked, and what would that be? Shinigami said, a hero who can defeat the champions of heaven and hell. Naruto scowled and said, you must have really liked that game if you are making so many references toward it. Shinigami smirked and said, I find it amusing. Speaking of, while I was able to save you and Sally from the backlash, your stats you had before have been reset. Just like when you start a new character on that game. Naruto slapped his forehead and said, let me guess, you want me to create a couple of clones and have them play a battle theme song while I'm fighting as well, don't you? Shinigami said, well, if you think you can pull it off, I'm sure I will find it amusing. Naruto sighed and looked at the Shinigami and said, fine. Get the weapons, it's time to hunt, yo, we're going to hell to kill Diablo. Before a smirk appeared on Naruto's face. Shinigami laughed and held up his hand and a golden book appeared in his hand and said, here's another diable reference for you. You know how you could pull up all your challenges and quest like kill certain people by wearing a certain color? Well, this book has a list of a few challenges you will have to do for me and is something you can record your own journal entries into. This book will shrink down to that of a charm bracelet on your wrist and will automatically return to you should it be torn off. It can't be opened by anyone but you or those you have made Uzumakis. I have taken your parents' Kage Bunshin from you though. You will find out why later as you complete my challenges. Good luck, underground, where the demons rise. He started to sing as he disappeared. Naruto looked at the spot the Shinigami disappeared from and shook his head and took the book that had fallen to the floor and began to flip through the pages and blinked a moment before he snickered and said, yeah, I can do that. With a smirk. Naruto, after taking a shower and having a couple of Kage Bunshins clean up his apartment, got dressed in his orange cloths and sat down at table with his new journal and got a pen and wrote. Things I need to get started, money, gear, loot. Naruto blinked and slapped his head and said, damn it. He got that song stuck in my head, but it's true. Looking around his apartment, Naruto frowned and shook his head and said, remember Sally's #1 rule. Figure out the loopholes and exploit the hell out of them. So what would be the loopholes I can use now, that would work? Naruto got up and closed the book and saw it shrink down and turn into a golden little charm shaped like a book on a gold chain that appeared on his wrist and Naruto's side before he left his apartment. 3 hours later, Naruto entered the Yamanaka flower shop and looked around at all the plants, and Ino Yamanaka, who was behind the counter reading a fashion magazine, said, "Welcome to Yamanaka flower shop, how can I?" "Naruto, what are you doing here? You better not be trying to pull a prank on my family's business, sir." Naruto interrupted her and said, "Is that any way to treat a customer? You're an adult now in the eyes of the village, Ino." A chuckle from the doorway leading toward the back was heard, and both Ino and Naruto looked over at the door and saw Inoichi Yamanaka standing there, and he said, "While you have a point, Naruto, you also can't blame Ino for being careful. You do have a reputation." Naruto said, "A black dot on a white page. Is it a black dot or is it a circle inside a circle, hidden in a circle, surrounded in a circle, shrouded by a circle? Which is a bigger issue? A 12-year-old boy is able to paint the Hokage monument wearing bright orange in the middle of the day, or a village full of trained ninjas who failed to detect the boy until he was done? A boy who then was able to lead several ninja on a chase through the village and only got caught because he stopped to gloat." Naruto smirked and said, "You see my pranks as my failings, but what about the failings of those I made a fool of? They failed to catch me. They failed to catch Orochimaru, Itachi Uchiha, and how many others? Then we have what happened yesterday. A man who was in the perfect position to eliminate or kidnap the heirs of most of Konoha major clans and had detailed knowledge of these heirs. If he hadn't have gotten greedy and wanted that scroll, then how much damage could he have caused Konoha? Most see my pranks as problem child screaming out for attention or something like that. How many are willing to look deeper and see the real issue of the failings of the ninja of Konoha? That paint could have easily been exploding tags if I was an enemy. I could have hurled kuniyas with exploding tags or poisons bombs while evading those ninja who chased me." Ino said, "Get real dead last. You couldn't have." Inoichi said, "Enough, Ino, as much as I hate to admit it, he's right." Ino frowned as she heard this, and Naruto saw this and frowned and said, "I'm sorry, Ino, and to you as well, Mr. Yamanaka. The last 24 hours have been life-changing for me. I've learned things about myself that have caused me to decide to change my life and my ninja way, which brings me here." Ino said, "Do you have to always be such a drama queen, Naruto? So you failed the academy again, big deal. Get over it." Inoichi said, "Enough, Ino." Naruto passed. "What is it that you're here for exactly, Naruto?" Ignoring the shocked look Ino has. Naruto scratched the back of his head and looked at Ino and then at Inoichi and then back at Ino and took a deep breath and sighed before he pulled out a piece of paper and said, "Do you have any of these flowers or know where I might be able to find them?" Inoichi blinked and took the paper and looked at it and said, "I've got all of these. Are you wishing to buy them?" Naruto said, "That's complicated. I don't actually need the whole flower, just a single petal from each." Inoichi blinked and Ino said, "Well, we don't sell just a single petal baka. If you want a petal, you have to buy the whole flower." Naruto looked at Ino and said, "Ino, my life-changing events have nothing to do with the graduating from the academy. If you would have waited until I finished speaking, you would not look like the baka you claimed I am. I was actually going to say that since the flowers I was looking for are so expensive and are used in healing creams, and since the seeds for those flowers are found in the flowers themselves, I was going to offer to donate the rest of the petals and plant to any healer you know who could use them to make healing creams, and your family could keep the seeds for future plants. That way your family business would look good to others in the village for you and also help you make a profit on top of the original sale." Ino looked at Naruto with a glare and Inoichi said, "Enough, Ino. What exactly are you needing a petal for, Naruto?" Naruto said, "It's complicated, but have you ever seen people fishing by the sea with those giant nets they throw out and pull back trying to catch fish?" Inoichi said, "Yeah, I have." "Why?" Naruto rubbed the back of his head and said, "Well, you see this." As he held up his hand, and both Ino and her dad saw the charm bracelet. Naruto said, "It's sort of a family heirloom. You know the Shinigami summoning contract the Yondaime used to defeat the Kyuubi? Well, it was created by the Uzumaki clan of Whirlpool Country before it was destroyed. According to what's written in this book, this charm was created by the Shinigami who made a deal with a member of the Uzumaki clan. I'm guessing it's from when the clan created that contract. Anyways, this charm goes to the head of the Uzumaki clan. See, watch this." As Naruto took off the charm and set it on the ground and stepped back, and suddenly the charm disappeared and reappeared on Naruto's wrist, shocking both Yamanakas. Naruto said, "I got this shortly after I got my Hiat. Since the Hiat declares me an adult. This book talks about the Uzumaki clan and their bloodline and other things. Well, according to what I have read, in order to learn to control my bloodline that I must have since this thing came to me like it did, I need to start fishing with my chakra. Ino asked, fishing? What the hell does that mean? Naruto said the Uzumaki clan doesn't have regular chakra according to what I read. It only has the yang half of chakra. We have to basically use our yang chakra like a fishing net to catch yin chakra. We can also lure yin chakra into our net by having a bait. The bait is what I have come here for. Inoichi looked at the book on Naruto's wrist and said, do you mind if I read that book, Naruto? Naruto said, do you mind paying the Shinigami your soul? Anyone not an Uzumaki who tries to read from this book will automatically summon the Shinigami who will take their soul according to the book. If you want to take that risk, it's your choice, go ahead, but don't blame me for Ino watching you die. At this both Yamanakas looked wide-eyed and Naruto said, anyways, can I get those flowers? Inoichi looked at the list again and began to get them and said, tell you what, Naruto, I don't doubt you believe everything that's written in that book, but it's a little mysterious how it appeared and I would hate to see you get. Naruto said, enough, sir. Does Ino know about me, about what I hold? Inoichi took in a gasp of air and Naruto said, thought not. Ino, don't let what you see and hear make you believe it's true. Remember what I said earlier about circles and dots. This is more of that crap. The Yondaime did not kill the Kyuubi, he sealed it. There's a law that nobody but the Sandaime or me are allowed to talk about it with anyone who doesn't know. Your dad's worried this book is a trap that could cause the Kyuubi to escape. The problem with this is since I've had hours to read this book and verify things, if I wanted to I could see your dad and every member of the village council along with the Hokage executed for treason by the Fire Lord because of what I now have learned and have verified as truth. At this both Ino and her dad looked shocked and Ino asked, what do you mean? Naruto said, did you ever wonder why the Fire Lord agreed to allow the Senju and Uchiha clan to found Konoha? It's because both are cousins to the Uzumaki clan and the Uzumaki clan performed a great service to the Land of Fire. The Land of Fire had almost no natural water sources. The Uzumaki clan created massive sealing arrays that bring salt water from the sea to caverns underground where it is heated by the rivers of lava that help give the Land of Fire its name. That heated water is turned to steam that rises to the surface now as fresh water that forms the lakes and rivers of the Fire Nation. All those massive seals are controlled by a master seal hidden somewhere near Konoha that the Uzumaki clan guard, protects, and power. Mito Uzumaki Senju was the first seal guardian for the Land of Fire. In order to make sure she had enough power to power the seal, she sealed the Kyuubi inside herself. Naruto crossed his arms and said before she died she chose my mother Kushina Uzumaki of Whirlpool to be the next seal guardian who also sealed the Kyuubi into herself to help power the seal. The Yondaime sealed the Kyuubi inside me so I could continue to guard and power the seal. Your dad, the Hokage, and the council could be killed for treason because there have been over a dozen votes to see me killed by the council. What do you think the Fire Lord would prefer? Protect the person who gives his country water or a village that wants to make him have to start importing water from other countries while his country withers away and dies due to the loss of its rivers and lakes? Now if you're worried about the fox getting free and attacking since it was inside my mother before me, here's a questions you should ask. How did the Kyuubi pick up a kunai and stab it into the back of the head of the Sandaime's wife, killing her and the nurse that helped deliver me? Answer: it didn't. The enemy ninja who attacked and first kidnapped me and then tried to kidnap my mother before trying to kill her did. Wondering why you don't know any of this? Ask the Sandaime. Do you really think he wouldn't investigate his wife's death by a kunai to the skull? Naruto looked at Inoichi and said, you don't trust this book. This book is the only thing that saved Konoha from being destroyed by the Fire Lord because I had no knowledge about the Master Seal, but I've already been there and followed the directions recharging the seal. It was almost out of power. Less than a year I would guess. I've added another year or two to the seal, but I'm not powerful enough yet to fully power the seal like my mother and great-granny could. Oh, didn't know that either, did you? My dad, the Yondaime, Minato Namikaze, was actually the son of Nawaki Senju. The name Namikaze was the maiden name of Mito Uzumaki Senju's mother. She gave it to my dad in order to protect him after Nawaki was killed by Iwa Nins who seemed to be trying to exterminate the Senju line during the war. Amazing how the village's scapegoat just happens to be a blood relative of 3 of the 4 Hokages. Naruto turned and started walking toward the door and Ino said, wait, where are you going? Naruto stopped walking and looked at Ino and said, I figure you need to talk to your dad about the Kyuubi and what you have heard since you've been lied to all these years. Your dad will need to run to the Hokage and tell him what he heard. The Sandaime will then send people to find me to demand to know what I know, since he's gone out of his way to deny everything about me, even though the village laws specifically say the Hokage and council can't interfere with clan business, and I still need those damn flowers, so I'm going to go find those flowers and the rest of the village can kiss my blonde ass. See you later. Before he disappeared in a white flash of light, shocking both Yamanakas. Inoichi turned to Ino and said, Stay here, Ino, and do not talk about any of this with anyone until I get back. This is an S-class village secret and you will be punished or executed over it, so keep quiet. I got to report this to the Hokage. Before he disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Ino looked at where her dad had disappeared from before looking where Naruto had disappeared and thought, what the hell is going on? Several hours later, Naruto was standing up from beside a tree where a white flower was growing against when 4 figures in mask appeared, and Naruto said as he looked at the masks, I'm impressed, it only took you several hours to find me. Let me guess, the Sandaime wishes to see me, right? A female Anbu in a cat mask said, yes, the Sandaime wishes to see you. Naruto sighed and said, fine. See you there. Before he disappeared in a beam of light, shocking the 4 Anbu before one with gray hair and a dog mask said, find him. Meanwhile, Naruto appeared back in the village and began to walk toward the Hokage tower, ignoring everyone, and as Naruto reached the tower, Iruka Amino came out of the tower and blinked and said, there you are, Naruto. The Hokage had just asked me to help find you. What did you do this time? Naruto said, I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot the deputy. Iruka blinked and said, what? Naruto said, it's the end of the world as we know it. Iruka shook his head and said, you're not making any sense. Naruto looked at him and said, we don't need no education. Iruka said, yes you do, Naruto. You need. Naruto interrupted him and said, we're not going to take it. No, we're not going to take it anymore. Naruto pushed Iruka against the wall and screamed, whoa, whoa. We're right. Yeah. We're free. Yeah. We'll fight. Yeah. You'll see. Whoa. Before he took off running through the Hokage tower. When Naruto got to the Hokage office door, it exploded and Naruto said, we're not going to take it anymore. The Sandaime as well as several other ninja in his office looked shocked and Naruto said, what's up, you stuck up, scruffy looking nerf herder? A male ninja said, show the Hokage respect. Naruto said, and why should I? All he does is sit in his office and does paperwork on that desk. By the way, I'm destroying that desk. I found out I was conceived on that desk. Now what do you want? I got women to do, places to be, demons to kill, and legendary loot to collect, and you pull that kunai any further out of your holster and you will regret it. As he glanced toward the ninja who spoke before. The Sandaime said, stand down, all of you. Naruto, why are you acting like this? Naruto said, why don't you ask Danzo why he had his root ninja cut my mother's dead body open and take her unused eggs? Remember how you and that silver hair ninja in a dog mask left me with that squad of Anbu who you ordered to bring me to your office and take care of my parents' dead bodies? Well, 2 of them took my father's body away while the other 2 cut my mother's body open, took her eggs and sealed them in a jar before the jar was sealed in a scroll, and one of them said to take them to Lord Danzo before the one who spoke used a fire jutsu on my mother's body and then grabbed me and brought me to this office. At this many eyes widened and Naruto said, if that's not enough, why don't we talk about your former student Orochimaru, who was a member of Root and who used the body of my grandfather Nawaki Senju for his Mokuton experiments on Danzo's orders. Funny how you caught Orochimaru red-handed and order ninjas who came with you that day to stand down and let him walk away. My family has sacrificed everything for this village, including our immortal souls, and how are we rewarded? Our graves are robbed, our dead are butchered. Our birthrights are denied us and our legacy and bloodline stolen by the people we provided protection and shelter to. The people we fought and died for. Where is my godfather, that perverted bastard Jiraiya? Did he abandon me because I was a painful reminder of my parents, or because I don't have a censored? Naruto looked at the Sandaime who looked shocked, and Naruto ignored the other ninja in the room and said, well, don't worry about answering today. You got about 2 years before the master seal that provides water to the fire country runs out of power. When it does, you can answer the Fire Lord why his country is being destroyed because of the loss of water. I lied to Inoichi and Ino about one fact. It wasn't me that didn't have enough chakra. It was the tiny piece of the Kyuubi I had sealed inside of me that ran out of power. Dad, in order to protect the village and country, divided the Kyuubi into several pieces. The yin half he sealed inside himself inside the Shinigami. Half the yang was sealed into a toad and the last half of the yang was sealed into me. If my body didn't have to draw so much of the Kyuubi's chakra over the years to save my life from the abuse I suffered from the village's treatment of me, then I would have more time to grow in power to help power the Master Seal. At this, many people in the room gasped and the Sandaime said, "What do you mean, Naruto?" Naruto laughed and said, "You still don't get it. The great professor doesn't get it. All these years and you never pieced together the question, the first question, the oldest question, the question that must never be answered, that's hidden in plain sight." A female ninja said, "What question?" Naruto looked at her and said, "Ask yourself this. Where did summoning contracts come from? Where did summon creatures come from? Where did the sage of the sixth paths get chakra in the first place to give to us? Where did the bijus come from? What are the bijus actually? Where do bloodlines actually come from? Where do the six paths the sage is named after come from and where do they lead? Why would humans have the ability to make contracts with gods like the Shinigami?" Naruto crossed his arms and said, "A black dot on a white page. Is it just a black dot or is it circles within more circles? What are the circles really hiding?" Naruto saw that everyone in the room seemed to be in thought and Naruto smirked and said, "Well, it seems you all have more important things to think about and I have to got training to do if I am going to kill some rift bosses to get some keystones to open greater rifts." The Sandaime said, "Wait. What are you talking about, rifts, and what are keystones?" Naruto smiled sadly and said, "Poor old man. Living your life ignorant about the truths of life. We are all just dust in the wind. You were viewed as the most powerful person in this village, but you were actually just the head of one of 3 military branches under the control of one leader of one country in one section of one planet, in one solar system, of one tiny little galaxy in one tiny corner of space in just one tiny little universe in one tiny corner of reality. In the end, we are all just dust in the wind to things greater than you can imagine. My clan knew more than most on this planet, which is why the Shinigami and other gods were willing to make contracts with us. Keystones are used to open greater rifts to other places. See you." Before he disappeared in a white flash. The Sandaime said, "I don't know. All of you return to your normal duties but do not talk about what you have seen or heard, dismiss." After everyone left his office, the Sandaime thought, "Naruto, what do you know? Was that all just an act or something more?" Naruto, after disappearing, appeared in the forest on top of a white stone with symbols on it and Naruto looked down and thought, "Fast travel, got to love it. I spent the first few hours this morning after meeting the Shinigami creating this portal stone and adding temporal wards to it so it won't be destroyed by me being killed. All my fast travels to this spot have been successful, so I believe it's ready. Not being able to get those flowers right away was a pain, but at least I was able to find the flowers I needed to make the essence of ruby, diamond, topaz, emerald, and amethyst." Looking around the clearing he was in, Naruto saw a few cage bunshins who were hanged to look like people from the movies he watched with Sally and thought, "Sally, #1 rule, find the loopholes and exploit them. If I am right, then all the work these hanged cage bunshins have been doing will soon pay off in ways nobody would have imagined. I just hope it works. It should work. I think it will work, maybe." Taking a deep breath, Naruto said, "All right everyone, listen up. The stage is set, the band has been called, and it's soon time to raise the curtains. Your mission, to seek out new life and new civilization and boldly go where no man has before." A male cage bunshin who looked like Charles Bronson said, "Prime, I know that when you and Sally were together one of your favorite games was to use movie and game lines to make jokes, but don't you think this is taking it a little far?" Another cage bunshin who looked like Will Smith, "Dude, boss makes this look good." A cage bunshin that looked like Bruce Willis said, "Will's right. It's time to tell the world you PKA mother censored her." Naruto said, "Enough. Now it's time to begin. Now take the puzzle rings you have made from melted kuniyas and go to woods near each of the training grounds of Konoha. Each ring has been made with temporal runes so they can't be destroyed by a reset. Now that I have gotten the essence of ruby, emerald, diamond, topaz, and amethyst, we can begin collecting yin chakra from the world around us. Go collect enough chakra to create a gem to power the puzzle ring and place it in the ring. Once you do that, it will absorb chakra from the elements and spawn a treasure goblin cage bunshin who will then create its own personal vault and create a treasure chest with temporal runes. They will then begin creating more chakra gems and collecting loot to make more puzzle rings, which will go create even more. Soon the treasure goblin empire shall span across the elemental nations. In the immortal words of Captain Jack Sparrow, take what we want, and leave nothing behind." A round of cheers from the cage bunshins was heard before they cleared up what they were doing and began to leave. Naruto saw this and thought, step 1 of my master plan has began. You wanted Diablo Shinigami, I'll give you Diablo. Now I just need to survive for a few more hours before the shit hits the fan. Once I get the memories of the last henge cage bunshin dispelling, I will begin Operation Pink Floyd. Naruto looked around one last time and thought, when the next reset starts I should start working on my first build. This world is sick, it needs healing, it needs medicine, but what this world needs most is a doctor, a witch doctor, ha 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 ha. Just then something hit Naruto on top of his head, causing him to stop and look around, and he looked up in the trees and sees a squirrel which was holding an acorn in its hand before the squirrel threw the acorn at Naruto, who dodged to the side only to get hit from behind by another acorn, and Naruto said, what the hell? As he looks up and sees another squirrel in a tree which was holding another acorn. Naruto dodged as he heard something coming at him from behind and saw another acorn hit the ground, and Naruto looked around himself and suddenly saw dozens of squirrels coming out of the trees, and Naruto thought, what the hell? A squirrel jumped off a branch at Naruto and Naruto jumped out of the way, and when the squirrel hit the ground it exploded and Naruto's eyes widened and said, no way, I heard about these but I didn't think they actually existed. Exploding squirrels. Just then a sound was heard coming from one of the squirrels, and all the squirrels in the trees began running down the trees and charging toward him, and Naruto's eyes widened before he took off running toward town and thought, what the hell did I do to piss off exploding squirrels? In a room far above the world, the Shinigami was sitting beside the bed with Sally in it and smirked to himself, and Sally said, did you really have to send those squirrels after him? Shinigami looked at her and said, yes I did. He used a few facts to create a massive lie as a prank. Yes, the Uzumaki clan did bring water to the Fire Nation as payment for allowing Konoha to be built, but they used all the bijus to start the process and then it was recharged by nature. I know what you and him did to the Kyuubi and I approve, but that soul was mine just like his. As such I will be pulling my own pranks on him and his plans, besides, it's not like it would kill him, permanently that is. Sally just shook her head and said, thank you for helping us. Shinigami said, we all do things for our own reasons. Now let's enjoy the show. Several hours later, as Naruto got back to town, it was already dark and Naruto thought, damn squirrels, at least all my hanged cage bunshins have started the treasure goblin empire. Now it's time to begin Operation Pink Floyd. The next morning Konoha awoke to screams as Naruto sat in the park hanged as Deckard Cain with a cage bunshin sitting across from him hanged into his niece Leah, and they were playing a game of chess together. Several more screams were heard throughout the village before people began running from their homes with each person looking like Naruto. Just then music began to play through the village and Leah smirked and said, Young Henge, the same genjutsu Tsunade uses to hide herself and that we use to hide ourselves. Now the people of Konoha will learn what it's like to be you. After all we are is just another brick in the wall. Cain said, indeed Leah. As both were covered in smoke and now looked like Naruto, as more and more people filled the street looking like Naruto with different cloths on, while the Pink Floyd song played all across the village as dozens of cage bunshin Narutos who were the size of children began to sing the words to the song, freaking the people of Konoha out even more. As the song ended another scream was heard, and this time the voice said demons. Hee hee. Was heard as dozens of treasure goblins ran into the village grabbing random objects as they ran through the street laughing to themselves before they would suddenly stop and then disappear in a puff of smoke. When Naruto opened his eyes he looked around at his apartment and then looked to his left hand and then his right before raising his left leg and then his right before he reached down and grabbed his crotch and thought, thank whatever god or goddess that allows me to not carry over damage between resets. I knew dogs could be mean, but being forced to watch as they eat your manhood after ripping it off and have you bleed to death from it, yeah, not something I want to try again, ever. Getting out of bed and heading toward the bathroom, Naruto thought, if my plans worked out right then sometime today the treasure goblins will respawn and get to work on collecting loot and then making more. I actually wonder how much that one change is going to affect this world. Oh well. On to bigger and better things. After taking a shower I need to make my own storage box to hold things in so I don't have to restart with nothing. Taking off his clothes and starting the shower, Naruto waited a moment before climbing in and began to wash up and thought as he began to wash his hair, after that I need to start working on my witch doctor build. Maybe I should actually try to look like the witch doctor from Diablo. I wonder what I would look like with my head shaved, and tattoos. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. Naruto, after getting dressed and eating a quick bite, left his apartment and went towards the training grounds. As he was walking down the street he heard the unmistakable laughter of a loot goblin which brought a smile to his face and ignored the scream from the side street where the laughter came from. Stopping for a moment, Naruto thought, should I go after that loot already to help me? No, better wait till later. Those little buggers have my knowledge and will get updates from the cage bunshins I make. That means they know how to make the things I know how to make. Who knows? In the long run it might even get better for me because they could make other items and might actually try to recreate some of the legendary loot from Diablo. I wonder if I could make some pox pants. That would come in handy if I ever got chased by those damn dogs again. I'll be sure to show them my zombie dogs someday. When Naruto got to one of the regular training grounds he immediately created several dozen cage bunshins and said, "Alright, line up in a straight line." After they all formed up and Naruto counted and said, "Alright, there are 52 of you. I want every third cage bunshin to begin heading into the woods to look for items to make potions, medicine, poison, dyes, and inks. Go." As several cage bunshins ran off into the woods Naruto said, "Alright, now close ranks. Now I want every fifth cage bunshin to go out and find wood that can be used to make a storage chest and begin building it. Go." After those left Naruto said, "Form up again and every fourth cage bunshin I want to go and start making an amulet similar to the puzzle ring, but instead of making loot goblins I want to make spiders." A cage bunshin said, "Boss, sorry for asking, but what do you want the spiders for?" Naruto said, "Remember the Uzumaki chakra chains? I know we can't make them right now since everything is reset, but we can go ahead and start making a small army of spiders who once we can make them will be able to make chakra silk for our cloths. The spiders can start trading with the goblins in exchange for more amulets and the goblins can use the silk to make items for us to use. I don't want to spend all my time building my own armor and equipment, and we know that our chakra silk will be stronger than pretty much everything else we could find in this world with less weight. The rest of you are to begin with spreading out and begin fishing for yin chakra. I'll be working on building my first witch doctor weapon and then see about building some basic armor. Now you have your orders, go." As the cage bunshin began to move out one said to another, "Are we sure boss isn't planning world domination?" Causing Naruto to laugh to himself. Several hours later Naruto walked into the Hokage office and the Sandaime said, "Hello Naruto. Are you here to turn in your ninja registration and photo?" Naruto said, "Actually, I was going to ask if I could turn it in tomorrow. I'm getting new gear today and I want to have my new gear on for my registration picture since I know that clients can sometimes see these pictures. I want to look better." The Sandaime said, "I suppose I can do that. What brought this on? I thought you would die before you changed out of your orange jumpsuit." Naruto said, "And most likely die because of it. I met this girl who was able to talk some sense into me." The Sandaime said, "Oh, does that mean you have a little crush?" With a teasing smile. Naruto said, "I wish. Sally is way out of my leagues and was only passing through, but we did get to spend some time together having fun and we played some games together. It was nice. Like having a big sister. We talked and laughed, singing and dancing. It was great, but she's gone now and I doubt I'll see her again." The Sandaime said, "Oh, she's not from Konoha," as he narrowed his eyes. Naruto said, "She's not from the elemental nations. She came from a distant land and was just passing through on her journey to return to her family. She was here mostly to get supplies for the long journey ahead." The Sandaime said, "Where was she from?" Naruto said, "She said her family live in a place called Olympus, but she said that her family originally came from the elemental nation." "Where was it did she say her family came from?" "Whirlpool." "That's what she said. She showed me a family photo. Her mom had this beautiful red hair." The Sandaime paled as he heard this and said, "I see. How long ago did your friend leave?" Naruto said, "About an hour. She didn't exactly leave though. She just did something with a scroll and then disappeared with her escort. She said I would most likely see her again someday. She was sad that when she got to Konoha she couldn't find her relative she was looking for. Some woman named Kushina and her husband Minato, but she was really happy to find me. She even taught me a few things." The Sandaime said, "Oh, like what?" as he found his throat very dry. Naruto said, "Well, how to fish with chakra but without water. She taught me how to send my chakra into the ground and have it act like a fishing net. It's hard to explain, but after I learned to fish with chakra I can use an earth clone real easy. She told me to practice with my cage bunshin and how the memories transfer back to me. I asked her how she knew the jutsu and she said it was actually created by Whirlpool and Konoha got it from people who moved to Konoha from Whirlpool. Anyways, thanks for letting me take my picture tomorrow." I'm going to get some ramen and then work on getting my gear for team placement. See you tomorrow, Gigi. As he smiled and left the office. The Shinigami slumped in his chair a moment before he narrowed his eyes and said Anbu. 4 masked ninja appeared and the Shinigami said those creatures that have been sighted in town. When they disappear, would you say it's like Thier activating a reverse summoning scroll? One in a dog mask said yes sir. Possibly, why? The Shinigami said I believe that this might be revenge on Konoha. Naruto Uzumaki made a new friend earlier today. A friend I am starting to believe was a member of the Uzumaki clan who, seeing how Naruto has been treated, decided to get some revenge. Kakashi. I know today is your last day in Anbu and you have already been informed about being Naruto's Junin sensei, but I want you to try and find out more info on this girl, Sally, from him, and if she should come in contact with him again, inform me at once. Kakashi, you are dismissed for the rest of the day to prepare. The rest of you keep an eye on Naruto and let me know if any strange girl appears around him. He should be at his favorite ramen stand right now. Go. A tiny spider that was now hiding behind a flower pot in the corner thought, censor eaters, boss isn't even here. That was just a clone who will get the ramen to go and take it back to the apartment for boss to eat later while the clone cleans. In a few hours this entire tower will have a spider infestation. Boss had a clone hanged as a mouse carry a scroll into the wood supports between the floor and the roof of one of the other floors. Once that mouse gets there, it will unseal a time box that will release spiders in the tower that will be able to spy no matter how many times the tower gets swept, since the box is designed to look like a regular support beam. A new spider will be spawned every 30 seconds. Now I just have to listen and watch. Several hours later, Naruto stood up from where he had been working and dusted his cloths off and looked at the scroll that contained the items he had been able to create and thought, tomorrow's going to be fun. I guess it's time to see where I am at on my paragons. In front of Naruto a window appeared with the word Paragons at the top of it. Below that was 2 bars, a white bar that was completely filled and had questions marks at the end, and a black bar that was partially filled and had the number 49 in it. Naruto looked at it and thought, the white bar is my yang chakra. Vitality, dexterity, strength, and speed are all in this. This is the Uzumaki bloodline. Our bodies do not naturally produce yin chakra and our yang chakra is all mixed together and we have to divide it ourselves. This causes our chakra control to be shit and makes it harder for us to get the full effect of our chakra, among other things. I guess I should start with it first. Naruto pressed his finger to the yang chakra bar and then dragged it down slightly and said strength. Another bar appeared, this time in red, and had the word strength at the beginning, and Naruto began to slide his finger between the yang bar and the strength bar over and over again, and after several minutes he stopped and saw that he had 46 paragons in strength. Naruto thought, okay. That would be good if it was permanent, but it's not. In order to make it permanent I have to convert it into gems. Every 5 paragons I can create 1 gem. Level 1 gem at Paragon 5. Level 2 gem at level 10, but in order to create a level 2 gem I have to combine 2 level 1 gems. Level 3 takes combining 2 level 2 gems, etc. I have 46 paragons, but I have to make 3 level 1 gems. That will cost me 15 paragons, plus powering them up to a level 10 paragon will cost me a total of 25 paragons. That leaves me with 21 paragons left. I can go ahead and create 2 more level 2 gems and have 1 extra point I can add to work toward level 15, so when I get there I can already have the gems I need to make a level 3 gem. Let's do that, then work on the other stats. Once Naruto was finished with his yang chakra, he looked at his stats and saw yang chakra paragon level, gem level 20 max diamond. Strength paragon level 11, gem level 2 ruby. Vitality paragon level 61, gem level 12 amethyst. Dexterity paragon level 15, gem level 3 emerald. Speed paragon level 22, gem level 4 topaz. -0. 5% bonus per paragon. 1% perm. Bonus per gem level. Note: all non-gem paragons will be returned to yang chakra upon reset and must be redistributed. Naruto saw this and thought, thanks dad for giving me Kyuubi yang chakra. Even when I gemmed to my max I can to give me a permanent 20% chakra control of my yang chakra. I still have no idea how censoring much I actually have. Even after purifying my chakra by removing the aspect of yang chakra that mom's bloodline gives me, it's still censoring crazy. Take a deep breath, Naruto, and calm down. Start counting to try and calm down. 30 minutes later, 8,999, 9,000, 9,001. I counted over 9,000 and it's still not helping. That's it. If I get to see you someday, Dad, I'm punching you in the balls while counting. Let's see if I can still be pissed at you when it's over 9,000 then. Take a deep breath and let's work on yin chakra. After several minutes, Naruto looked at his yin stats. Yin chakra: Paragon level 6, gem level 1, earth Paragon level 22, gem level 4, diamond. Wind Paragon level 27, gem level 5, emerald. Water Paragon level 14, gem level 2, amethyst. Fire Paragon level 2, gem level 0, ruby. Lightning Paragon level 1, gem level 0, topaz. -0.5% bonus per Paragon. 1% perm. Bonus per gem level. Note: all non-gem Paragons will be returned to Yin Chakra upon reset and must be redistributed. Naruto smiled as he looked at this and thought, okay, that's better. I can fish ETH, wind, and water from any of those three sources since they are easy to come by. Fire has to come from an actual fire, so I had to make a fire and draw chakra from it. Lightning was the hardest, and if it was not for the electricity going through the power lines, I wouldn't have even a level 1. Once I can make chakra chains, I can drain yin chakra from any enemies I fight, and that will help. Since the Uzumaki bloodline does not give me any yin chakra naturally, I have to collect it, and I am only getting a boost thanks to my gems. Luckily, my Senju clan bloodline will be useful soon when I'll be able to combine elements of chakra. Maybe that's why my yang chakra is so censored up right now. Maybe there are aspects of yang chakra in elements that I have to unlock. I guess my intelligence has been increased thanks to the speed boost. I wonder how many people actually thought about in the Diablo game that intelligence boosting made them smarter. No, it just meant their brains could operate faster and reach decisions faster. Naruto looked at the sky and thought, I think I've just about done all I can for the day. I need to get home and eat and get ready. Tomorrow, the doctor comes to Konoha. Konoha Academy, the Leaf Village primary education provider, and the site where history will be rewritten. Why, you ask? It could be many things, but it's most likely the fact there is an entire wall missing from two opposite sides of the building. This was the site that awoke the Leaf Village when its people began their day. Several blocks away, Naruto Uzumaki stepped out his bathroom wrapped in a towel and blinked and said, can I help you, Anbu-chan? The female Anbu in a cat mask who was standing in Naruto's apartment said, all genin who graduated are to report to the top of the Hokage Tower at noon today in order to get their teams. Due to an incident at the academy, the school has been closed until the damage can be repaired. You don't know anything about what happened to the academy, do you, Uzumaki? Naruto blinked and said, you mean to tell me that someone actually managed to close the academy? I spent years trying to do that, and now that I'm no longer a student, there's someone actually succeeded in doing that. Damn it, someone is challenging me for my title as Prank King of Konoha. When you find out who did this, let me know so I can show them who the true king is. The Anbu said, I will inform the Hokage of your suspicion. Naruto looked at the Anbu and said, in 10 seconds my towel is hitting the floor. If you want to test my stamina, my bedrooms is the door to the left. If not, the exit is the door to the right. 3, 2, well, she left but not by the door. As he saw the Anbu disappear in a puff of smoke, Naruto shook his head and thought, I wonder what actually happened to close the academy. I know I didn't have any plans to do anything to the academy. Oh well. I got things to do to get ready for my first day as a ninja. At 10:30 a.m. Naruto was walking around the outside of Training Ground 44 when a female voice said, what are you doing here, Gaki? This training ground is restrict red. Naruto looked up and saw a woman with purple hair and brown eyes wearing a tan trench coat and black shorts and a black sports bra with fishnet over the top of it, and he said, hello. I'm looking for someone. A woman by the name of Anko Midarashi. I was told she hangs around this area. Would you be her? The woman frowned and said, what are you needing her for? Naruto said, it's a personal matter I would like to discuss with her. If she chooses to speak with others about it, then it will be her choice. The woman smirked and said, all right, Gaki, what's this choice? I'm Anko. Naruto looked at her a moment and said, I see. I must look kind of foolish since I didn't know what you look like, but the spirits just told me where to find you. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I'm here to offer you a deal. One that I think we both would find beneficial. Anko raised her left eyebrow and said, really, and what kind of deal would that be? Naruto said, removing your curse seal and killing Orochimaru. Anko's eyes widened as she heard this, and she reached up to the left side of her neck and said, what are you talking about? Naruto looked at Anko and said, look, I'm sure you know about me and the furball. Right. Anko nods her head and Naruto said the Yondaime summoned the Shinigami who sealed the furball into me, not the Yondaime, the Shinigami himself. Do you not think there would be some side effects from having a seal created by the god of death on a living person? I can see spirits. I could when I was younger and it nearly scared me to death, so the spirits asked the Shinigami to bind that power until I'm an adult, which now that I am a ninja I am considered an adult and the ability came back and I see and hear the spirits who told me about you. I can't destroy your curse seal directly, but the spirits have told me how to transfer your seal in order to destroy it indirectly. The question is, are you interested and what price are you willing to pay for this service? Anko frowned and said, you mentioned Orochimaru, what about him? Naruto said, I'll tell you in exchange you agree not to mention what you hear to anyone without my permission, including the Sandaime. I'm not ready to talk to him about some of what I will tell you. Anko pursed her lips and said, why shouldn't I mean the old man? Naruto interrupted her and said, ever wonder what those missing memories were about or why you're missing them? Anko froze as she heard this and said, how did the spirits? Naruto nods and said Orochimaru was a member of Root, which was ran by Danzo. He's still an active ally of Root. You missing memories were of meetings between Danzo and Orochimaru that you witnessed. Danzo got a Yamanaka under his command. I'm sure you can fill in the dots. Anko pursed her lips and said, all right Gaki, what exactly are you after? Naruto said, the spirits tell me many things like my parents. Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. They also told me that Minato Namikaze was the son of Nawaki Senju. Nawaki Senju was the genetic source of Orochimaru's Mokuton experiments done on the orders of Danzo. Nawaki's mother was a Yamanaka, and while experimenting to learn to Senju bloodline, your former sensei also learned enough of the Yamanaka bloodline to create a bastardized form of it that gives him a type of immortality. Something that pisses the Shinigami off. I am related to 3 of the 4 Hokages and the heir to 2 clans. The Uzumaki clan and the Senju clan. As such I have to restore both clans. I can't do much about the Senju clan until Tsunade decides to officially recognize me or she dies, but I can do much for the Uzumaki clan. That is why I am here. I would like to make a deal with you in exchange for you agreeing to join the Uzumaki clan. I give you info on your former sensei and his allies that will help to see him killed. Anko looked at Naruto for several moments and said, so you want me to marry you? Naruto said, maybe in the future if we get to know each other and like each other, but right now I am looking at making you an Uzumaki by adoption. It comes with perks and a price though. The choice is what are you willing to pay? I am here offering to remove the curse seal you have as well as give you info that can help to destroy the man I'm told you feel destroyed your life, so the question is, are you willing to join my family and accept the price and gifts that come with it? Anko rubbed her neck and said, what kind of gifts? Orochimaru called this a gift. Naruto said Orochimaru's gift was to himself. Your seal contains a backup that he created that would allow him to be brought back to life in the event his body was destroyed before he could transfer to a new body. Anko's eyes widened at that and she paled and said this. Naruto said, that's what the spirits say. You ask what kind of gifts, I'll tell you. Since we are talking about adoption and not marriage, the perks is this. Right now the Shinigami owns my soul because of the jutsu Dad used. When I die I would go to his belly normally, but because there are so many people that have found ways to cheat his ass, he wants a bounty hunter that would be able to collect the souls of those who cheat him in the living world. Since I am young he doubts that I will anytime soon become strong enough to collect these souls, so he gave me a way to get stronger. You know how when a Kage Bunshin dies its memories transfer back to the original. Same thing here. I die I go back to yesterday. It works. I've died several times already. As a member of my clan under me, you will gain the benefits of this effect, so when either you or any member of my clan who is under me dies, we will all be sent back in time to yesterday with our memories. Which means that when Orochimaru shows up at the Chunin exams you can face him and try to kill him over and over again until you kill his ass without worry about being killed, because you will wake back up yesterday and have several months to train and learn new things to kill him. Anko's eyes widened and she said, he's coming here for the Chunin exams. Why? Naruto said, sorry, if I tell you everything now then I won't have anything to give you if you decide to join. Right now you can say screw you and your deal, run to the Hokage and tell him, and I'll just kill myself to reset everything and this conversation will never have happened. I don't like Orochimaru and I don't like Danzo, but I'm not strong enough to do shit about it yet. That is one of the reason I am here. I don't want this to be a business deal. If I adopt you into my clan I want you to become family. I want to help you reach your goals, protect you, and help you get stronger. I know how the people of this village are with how they treat me because of the furball. I bet they treat you like shit also because of Orochimaru from what the spirits have told me. You don't know me and don't have any reason to trust me, which is why I have told you about my reset ability. What do you really have to lose? Anko pursed her lips and said, what do you have to gain? Naruto said, I'm alone, right now it's just me. I have no friends. Those who are family to me in this world don't know about me. All I have is myself and the spirits when they decide to show up for some reason. I grew up alone. I live alone, I die alone. I'm bored, something that isn't good for me or the world. You know those little bastards running around stealing things and laughing. They are called treasure goblins. The spirits when they introduced me to themselves played a video game with me. Treasure goblins were a creature of randomness in order to get items that might be useful to you or complete randomness. I recreated those bastards in the real world just to throw in some form of randomness. I think they are the bastards who stole the walls from the academy, but I'm not sure. This is the first time that's happened. Anko's eyes widened and said, you created those little bastards. One of them stole one of my dangos. How many of those little bastards are those and where my dango? Naruto said, I don't know. I created over a dozen of them originally, and once they get enough material to create a new puzzle ring, then they create it and a new one is created. There might be hundreds or even thousands of those little bastards in the world right now, and each has all my knowledge up to the moment I first created them, which means they know how to make pockets outside of the resets where they can store things that people can find and loot. Food doesn't store, I think, so he most likely ate your dango. Just then a treasure goblin ran through the clearing where they were holding a pink book in its hand, laughing as he was being chased by a man with silver hair and a face mask with his head over his right eye. The treasure goblin ran toward the wall and stopped. The man said, give me back my book. The goblin held up the book and laughed, causing the man to jump toward the goblin, only for the goblin to disappear in a puff of smoke, and the man slammed head first into the wall, and both Anko and Naruto laughed at the sight of this. The man, hearing the laughing, stood up and disappeared in a swirl of leaves, and Naruto looked at Anko, who had an amused look on her face, and she said, okay. I can see the humor in that. Where did they go? Naruto said, back wherever his treasure chest is located. He reversed summoned himself back to his chest and then sorts his loot to see if he can make anything, and if he can he will. If he can't, then he goes out and starts again. If someone kills him, then they can get whatever loot he has on him, and a few hours later the puzzle ring that created the treasure goblin will spawn a new one that will go out and create a new treasure chest somewhere.
Anko blinked and said, why wouldn't he just take over the current chest?
Naruto scratched the back of his head and said, the puzzle ring keeps spawning new treasure goblins every time it gathers enough chakra from the air. I didn't set a limit on them. I think eventually ninja villages will stop having wars against each other and have wars against treasure goblins who will be robbing them blind. I was bored and it seemed like a good idea at the time. I wasn't worried about the long-term effect they would have on the world, and truthfully, I'm not really worried about the long-term effect right now either. Do you know what one of my first memories was about? Anko shook her head no, and Naruto said, I saw myself get kidnapped by a masked man. Then I saw my parents die stopping the Kyuubi. Then I saw a ninja under Danzo orders cut open my mother's body and steal her eggs in order to steal my clan's bloodline before destroying her body with a fire jutsu to cover up the theft. Learning who my family was and what all they did for this village, and then to see my family's dead bodies butchered like that, and then learning about your sensei and what he did to my grandfather's body, I don't care about the world anymore. Why should I? I've decided that I'll care about my family and friends. I've decided that I will enjoy my life, get stronger to protect myself and my family and friends. What about you? What has this village actually done for you? What have they taken from you, and what have they given you in return for your sacrifices? Anko looked toward the forest inside the training ground and said, you know you're talking treason, kid. Naruto said, I'm the Shinigami's bitch. I won't die. I live 1,000 lifetimes in Konoha, then live in Suna once, then spend 100 in Kumo. Hell, could you imagine one day after killing Orochimaru 1,000 times over, you suddenly show up at his new hidden village and make him your bitch? Walk him around like poodle in a purse. Or even make a snakeskin purse and shoes out of his shed skin. I'm told he can shed his skin to repair damage. Make an entire fashion line of cloths made out of shed skin. People wear animal skin items all the time. Is Orochimaru any different than an animal? The Orochimaru line made by Anko Uzumaki, coming soon to retail store near you. Anko's eyes glossed over a moment as her imagination ran wild, and she said, you're crazy, you know that, right? Naruto shrugged and said I talked to the spirits, time travel, and created an army of thieves who are going to one day rob the world blind while laughing about it. Being crazy might be the only thing normal about me. Hell, after I get done talking to you I'm going to drop the henge I'm wearing and go pull a prank on the people of Konoha. Anko blinked and said what prank and what are you wearing a henge for? Naruto smirked and was covered in smoke, and when the smoke cleared Anko gasped and Naruto stood there completely bald with tattoos over his body and wearing only a pair of bare skin pants, bare skin shoes, a ring on each hand and an amulet necklace, and Naruto said Da spirits told me rock out with my censored out. Would you like to see my censored? As he pulled a limp rooster from his pocket. Naruto said he doesn't look like much when he's limp, but when he grows I don't carry him around in my pants, he carries me around between my legs. As the chicken was covered in smoke and now stood a 4 feet tall rooster that was looking errand, and Naruto jumped on his back and said, so lady, Da spirits want to know, you want to ride my censored? Naruto sat on a stump and sighed as he looked at Anko, who was rolling on the ground laughing her ass off. She spent the last 10 minutes doing so after his little censored tease. Every time she started to calm down from laughing she would look at him and burst out laughing again. Naruto said it wasn't that funny. Anko took a moment to calm herself down, and with a smile on her face she said, it was if you knew all the things that went through my head after you said that. Imagine me telling everyone the reason I joined your clan was because you had the biggest censored I ever saw, or had the biggest censored I ever had between my legs if I ever rode that damn rooster. There are so many censored jocks I could use with that setup you just gave me that I could go months before telling the same joke twice. Naruto said, alright. Maybe it was that funny when you think of it that way, but are you really going to join my clan? Anko looked at Naruto and said, kid, part of me wants to join you, but I don't want to be a slave to someone else. My sensei's mark makes me his slave, and if I join you then it means that I am a slave again. Naruto nods his head and said, I figured something like that would be your answer, but I had to try. As he reached up and took off the amulet necklace on his head and said, here. As he tossed it to Anko, who dodged it and let it fall to the ground. Anko looked at the necklace and said, what's that? Naruto said, if you touch it then it will transfer your curse seal to the amulet before creating a clone from the energy of the curse seal. Once the clone appears, punch it and you're free of the seal. I don't want you to think my offer to join me is slavery, so I'm giving you your freedom and your choice. As long as you don't put the amulet on, you're not an Uzumaki and won't be in the reset.
It's your choice if you decide to join my family. Only you can put it on and only you can take it off.
As long as you are wearing it when one of us died, then you will be pulled back to yesterday as an Uzumaki. This is my way of giving those who join me a test of what it would be like. I won't trap someone in this life if I can help it. Have a good life, Anko, and I hope you find happiness. I'll eventually kill Orochimaru, so maybe that knowledge will bring you some peace. As he turned and started to walk away. Anko looked at Naruto and said, wait. Naruto stopped and looked back at Anko, who said, you wanted training. What kind are you wanting?
Naruto said, for right now I need more advanced chakra control exercises than the leaf floating exercise.
I also need elemental manipulation training for all 5 of the main elements. Not jutsu training. My clan can't do regular jutsu at first because we have to absorb the yin half of the chakra from the elements themselves, since we are unable to create yin chakra. Once we have absorbed enough yin chakra, however, we can create one of these. As he reached into his pocket and pulled out a diamond. Naruto said, this is a chakra crystal. It naturally absorbs a specific type of element. By sealing this into our bodies we are able to absorb the energy this crystal would gather for us and use in jutsu. It's why my clan were known to be masters of shape manipulation, because we really don't have to worry about manipulating our chakra to a single element. This is the secret behind many of the Uzumaki and Senju clans' techniques, including the Mokuton ability. Once I get my earth and water yin chakra high enough, I'll be able to mix them together to create wood and other elements. I want to work on elemental manipulation training because it will allow me to more easily gain control of the elements I add to my jutsu, like this. Grasp of the Dead. Suddenly 24 hands shot out of the ground and began to swing around for several seconds before they crumbled apart back into dirt. Naruto said, that was me using some of my captured earth chakra and simple shape manipulation to create earth hands that would grab a person or people's feet and legs and hold them in place for either me or one of my attacks to hurt them. I have more powerful versions of that attack that does secondary damage also, but I am waiting on those. But you know, the funny thing was, that attack just now was all chakra crystals and not 1 ounce of my chakra was used in it. Right now it takes about 30 seconds to recharge before I can use that attack. When I get larger crystals I am hoping to get it down to either less than 10 seconds or even instantly. Imagine what that would be like. Using an area attack constantly over and over again with a simple command. Anko said, Grasp of the Dead. Couldn't you think of an easier name? Naruto said, Da spirits teach dat to me. I don't need to say the name though, just think the attack while mentally focusing where I want it and boom. Remember your history. 20,000 enemy ninja attacked the island of Whirlpool that only had 1,500 people living on it. Many of them just civilians. Of that 20,000, only less than 500 returned to Thier village alive while some people of Whirlpool escaped and scattered to different parts of the elemental nations. Now you have a glimpse into how my clan kicked so much ass during that battle. Anko blinked and blinked again and gave a low whistle and said, if your story is true then my sensei's days just might be numbered. Before she looked at the amulet on the ground and she said, if I decide to join your clan will I have to gather chakra like you or with those crystals? Naruto said, only if you decide to become one of the mothers of my children. If you put that amulet on you will heal slightly faster and live probably another 10 years before you die of old age. If you become a blood member of the Uzumaki clan like my children's mothers will, then, well, every time I reset my remaining yang chakra, including vitality, will be sent back to merge with my younger self, which means I'll live longer and longer until I'll basically become immortal. It's how eventually the Shinigami will most likely take my soul. If I die of old age then I won't have any yang chakra to reset with. The more I reset the longer I will live before my soul is taken. Anko's eyes widened before she lowered her eyes and said, so you're either going to have to live a long life where you watch everyone you know grow old and die, or you get your soul eaten by the Shinigami. Naruto said, all because Dad wanted to keep the furball for Konoha. Mom was willing to destroy him but Dad wouldn't let her. Luckily for me he's not here to stop me from destroying the furball. Anko's gasped and looked at Naruto in shock and said, what do you mean by that, Gaki? Naruto said, I'm part Yamanaka, remember? The spirits told me how to destroy the fox's mind and then convert his chakra into new forms. Just like the treasure goblins. I created a few clones who are linked to the clones made of fox chakra inside of me. These clones each have a special task I gave them, like one is a librarian whose job is to go out and collect books and scrolls from different places around the world, and I will eventually have the world's largest library collection in a home I am having one of the clones create. Anko blinked and looked at Naruto and said, so the fox is no more. Naruto said, the fox that attacked Konoha is no more. I still got one fox but it's actually a clone in the shape of the fox. I plan to use it to scare my enemies. Imagine one day another Biju was used to attack Konoha. Suddenly a Kyuubi appears and begins fighting the Biju outside the village, and then suddenly a few moments later a second Kyuubi appears to help the first. Basically I made a summon out of the Kyuubi. Anko shook her head and said, you're definitely crazy, Gaki, but I like crazy, as she looked at the amulet again. Sighing to herself she walked over and picked up the amulet and gasped as she fell to her knees as energy from the amulet rushed through her body, and she closed her eyes and gave a moan before she looked at Naruto, who had an amused look on his face, and he said, did I forget to mention that because of how powerful my vitality is that it would be like having an orgasm? I figure feeling pleasure from having the seal removed would be better than the pain you would have felt if anyone else removed it. Just then a clone of Orochimaru appeared in front of Anko and hands shot out of the ground grabbing the clone, and then suddenly the clone disappeared and a ghost-like form of Orochimaru was seen floating into the air screaming in agony. Naruto said, well, there was a piece of the bastard's soul. I hope that the Shinigami enjoys his snack cause he's not getting this soul ever if I can help it. Standing up slowly on shaky legs, Anko looked at Naruto and said, damn Gaki, that was the best orgasm I've ever had. Naruto said, the women who decide to become my children's mothers will have an even more powerful one because you only got what little was stored in that amulet. They will be flooded with mine. I'll double their vitality, and then every time we make love I'll top them off. I want them in my life, and I want them to have bodies that will be able to enjoy life. Anko blinked and said, so basically you're saying censoring you is like drinking from the fountain of youth. Damn, I really did orgasm from that. Naruto said, if one of us is killed and the reset happen you will experience it again if you're wearing that necklace, but you will have to kill your sensei clone that appears. I'm telling you this because I have no idea where you were yesterday when the reset starts. Now I got to get to the Hokage tower for team placements. As he turned and started to walk away. Anko watched him walk away and then began to chase after him, and when she caught up to him she said, I've been thinking about everything, Gaki. I got a question for you. As they walked toward the village. Naruto said I'll answer if I can. Anko looked toward the village and said if I decide to join your clan as an adoption, does that mean I have to be alone? Naruto looked at her and said if you find someone you love and trust enough to be with, I will give them an amulet, but if they leave you or betray you, I will step in as the head of our clan and take back the amulet. I will look after everyone who is in my clan to the best of my abilities. The spirit who spent the most time with me, Sally, loyalty is one of her most important qualities and I owe her more than you could ever imagine. If I could have her join my family, I would do anything to have her. I could love her easily, but she made sure that I would see her as a big sister and I will honor her wishes. That is why I will do everything I can to make her proud of me, so when we see each other again she can smile at me and tell me she proud of the man I grew up to be. Anko looked at him and said she must be a hell of a girl. Naruto shuddered a moment and said let's just say that I reset several times because of her and leave it at that. She was special, but she could be scary as hell at others. She had a mastery of water. Ever seen a man die from having his censored explode from water pressure? Yeah, she could be scary when she wanted to be. Anko blinked and said the spirits can interact with you. Naruto said I can hear and see them sometimes when they are here, but Sally was able to pull me into the spirit realm, you could say. There they were as physical as we were. There's more to it than that, but I can't tell you unless you become a full-time member and not just an adoption. I hate to say that, but some secrets have to be held to blood family for reasons. Anko said I get it Gaki, maybe someday, but for now. As she put the amulet around her neck. Naruto's eyes widened a moment and said really? Anko said yeah. You said you know the leaf floating. Next is tree walking. Too much chakra and you blow off. Not enough, you don't stick. After that is water walking, where you walk on water. Too much and you blow off. Not enough, you sink. Elemental training is similar to leaf floating. Fire, you make the leaf burn. Water, make the leaf damp. Wind, you cut the leaf. Lightning, you make the leaf crinkle. And earth, you make the leaf crumble. Naruto smiled a small smile and said thanks Anko Uzumaki and welcome to the family. I hope I can make you happy and proud to be called an Uzumaki. Well, when I'm not joking or pulling pranks. I got to go have fun with everyone now because DA witch doctor's in the house. Anko blinked a moment before she giggled and said hey Gaki, you know that a witch is a woman, right? Naruto said yeah, but voodoo doctors are also called witch doctors. Anko said no Gaki, you don't get it. You're a woman doctor. Obviously you're a guy, but if you're a guy and a woman doctor then you must be an OB/GYN. Are you going to give your future wives pap smears? As she laughed and shoeshined away in a swirl of leaves. Naruto blinked a moment before he giggled to himself and walked toward the Hokage tower, ignoring the looks people were giving him. At 10 minutes to noon, all the academy students who graduated were at the Hokage, minus Naruto, were on the flat-top roof of the Hokage tower and were sitting on chairs waiting there when the Sandame walked out of the stairwell along with the teachers for the 3 classes that graduated and the 4 Anbu who notified all the students to meet here.
The Sandame walked to the podium that had been set up in front of the chairs and he began to look around before looking at the 4 Anbu and asked, did one of you inform Naruto to meet here? I don't see him.
A male voice was heard echoing across the rooftop saying Da Anbu tell me to be here at noon. Da spirits tell me to eat before showing up since this would take some time. The Sandame looked around, ignoring the looks everyone on the roof had as they also looked around, and he said impressive Naruto. I can see how you were able to paint the Hokage monument in the middle of the day without getting caught until you were done. Where are you? Suddenly a puff of smoke appeared in front of the Sandame and a figure walked out of the smoke, shocking the Sandame and everyone else as the figure was standing in front of the Sandame in only a pair of bare hide shorts that stopped right above the figure's knees. The figure was bald on his head and had tattoos all over his body while wearing a wooden face mask that had the night sky with a moon on the forehead of the mask. The figure also had a ring on one finger on each hand. The Sandame said Naruto, is that you? Naruto said Da witch doctor is in Da house. Like my new look Gigi. The Sandame looked Naruto over and said what did you do to yourself? Naruto said Da spirits not happy so I grow stronger to make spirits happy, bad voodoo be happening here. As he pointed toward himself. Off to the side a female giggle was heard. The Sandame frowned and said what are you talking about? Naruto looked to his left and right and said my family be cursed to protect this village. 3 members of my family carry curse. My children be cursed after I die to carry da curse. I break da curse so my children not have da curse. Village safe now. Curse no more. The Sandame and several other adults looked at Naruto in shock, and the Sandame said in demanding tone, "What did you do, Naruto?" Naruto said, "Bad voodoo." Horrified. Suddenly the Kyuubi was standing over the top of the village and in a monotone voice said, "What is thy bidding, Master Ob, Gyn?" That was too much for the person who had the female giggle, and now everyone on the roof was being distracted from the towering Kyuubi by the woman who was rolling on the rooftop laughing her ass off. Naruto laughed while ignoring the scared looks everyone had, and the Kyuubi disappeared, and Naruto looked at the Sandame and said, "Here, catch," as he tossed a toad toward the Sandame, who dodged back away from it. Naruto laughed again and said, "So want me to explain what happened to the fox?" as his voice echoed across the entire village. The Sandame was looking at Naruto in fear and said, "What's going on, Naruto?" as his voice echoed across the village also. Naruto said, "Mito Uzumaki Senju, wife of Hashirama Senju, the Shodem Hokage, sealed the Kyuubi into herself to protect Konoha from the Kyuubi and to use it to defend Konoha from the other villages that held a biju sealed into one of their ninja to be used as a weapon. True or false, and do not lie. Da lies ends here. Konoha won't survive da fallout of any more lies about me. Da spirits are angry. They tell me what to do. I do it. As we speak, dozens of messages are being sent around the elemental nations. Expect messages back soon from other villages. Big meeting coming. Uzumaki clan uniting again. Stronger than before. Konoha once allies of Whirlpool. Maybe not in future if da lies continue." The Sandame frowned as he thought over what he just heard and said, "What spirits?" Naruto said, "Shinigami seal makes it where I can speak to spirits. Now answer da question, man." The Sandame pursed his lips as he heard this and said, "True. Mito did seal the Kyuubi in herself and kept it until shortly before she died." Naruto nods his head and said, "Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, wife of Minato Namikaze, the Yondaime Hokage, also held da Kyuubi until the day I was born, when she was attacked by masked ninja who released da Kyuubi on Konoha and controlled it with a Sharingan eye, possibly a transplant stolen from dead Uchiha." The Sandame sighed and said, "Also true. Your mother held the Kyuubi until the day you were born, when an unknown man with a Sharingan eye attacked, killing my wife who helped deliver you before releasing the Kyuubi. To this day we still don't know who the masked man was, which is why I've kept all info about him, quite in hopes of learning more about him." Ignoring the shocked looks everyone was giving him, Naruto said, "Not known to you, but Minato Namikaze was son of Nawaki Senju. Old enough to kill, old enough to gamble, drink, and have censored. Mito caught Nawaki and girl having censored. Shortly after, Nawaki was killed. Girl pregnant. Mito helped her until girl died, giving birth to Minato. Mito named him Minato after common male name from Whirlpool, birthplace of Uzumaki clan. She also gave him the name Namikaze, which was Mito's mother's maiden name, to protect him." The Sandame and many others were shocked hearing this, and the Sandame asked, "How could you know that?" Naruto said, "Da spirits told me. Remember, Dad summoned Shinigami to seal Kyuubi into me. Seal created and bound Kyuubi be Shinigami's seal. Seal have side effect. It allows me to see da spirits. Remember when young I told you I was afraid of ghost I saw. You told me they not real. Turns out I saw spirits who begged Shinigami to seal my seeing ability until I was older, since they were scaring me. Now I adult da ability return. Dat how I saw Sally. Sally is with Shinigami now. Da spirits tell me many dings, like how you have Kakashi spy on me to learn more about Sally should she return. One of da spirits said you still fling shit everywhere, monkey boy." The Sandame eyes widen as he heard this, and he took a step back and said, "Mito, you spoke to the ghost of Mito Senju. That's how you learned about your grandfather being Nawaki Senju." Naruto laughed and said, "Maybe. Ha ha ha. I tell you this so you know what happened to da Kyuubi. Nawaki's mom a Yamanaka. Yamanaka's attacked da minds. I attacked da Kyuubi's mind. Destroyed memories using da knowledge da spirits teach me. Used Kage Bunshin to replace da Kyuubi's mind. People of Konoha dink I Kyuubi. Fear me because Dad sealed da Kyuubi in me da day I was born to save Konoha. I make myself the Kyuubi to make da people of Konoha happy. Konoha got dire wish." Horrified. Suddenly the Kyuubi appeared above Konoha again, and Naruto said, "Lower your head, Kyuubi. I want to sit on your head." The Kyuubi lowered his head, and Naruto jumped on top of the Kyuubi's head and said, "Okay Gigi. It noon and I here. Sort teams so I can get ahead." The Sandaime frowned and said you want to have censored, causing Anko to burst out laughing again. Naruto laughed harder and said maybe if it's with censored lady over dear who has black panties, but I'm talking about a real head like this. As he pulled out a bear skull out of his pants pocket and Naruto said dis be the head I be needing. I be Konoha's witch doctor, malpractice makes perfect. I be da voice of da spirits. Oh, da spirits have message for Sasuke Uchiha. Important message, life-changing message. Sasuke Uchiha like most were looking shocked by all they have seen and heard in the last few minutes, and Sasuke said what are you talking about Dobi? As his voice echoed over the village like Naruto and the Sandaimes. Naruto said Uchiha clan has rules about da head of Uchiha must be the strongest and purest of Uchiha blood. Forbidden Uchiha clan head to have daughter. Daughters killed so they can't give Uchiha strength to odors. Your parents make deal with my dad, Yondaime Hokage. Hide daughter of Uchiha clan head. Dear be female Uchiha alive. At this many eyes widen in shock and Sasuke said there's a female Uchiha alive. Naruto nods his head and said big deal made to protect daughter of Uchiha. My dad, Yondaime, agreed to make your dad, new elder advisor after first of year if Kyuubi attack never happen. Dar be betrothed to me and our child would have had Kyuubi sealed into him or her giving Uchiha clan partial control of Kyuubi in exchange for not killing daughter when they learn about her uniting Uchiha clan and Hokage family. Kyuubi attack screw all those plans up but daughter already placed in hiding and lives. She be here. Sasuke asked where is she, who is she? Naruto smirked and said Genjutsu seal placed on her head. Same seal Tsunade uses to hide her looks. Need blood of Uchiha and blood of Uzumaki to break seal since my mother be female Uchiha's godmother while your mother be my godmother. Help unite families. Sasuke looked at Naruto and said where is she? Naruto looked at Sasuke and said she be you. You be girl. Seal on your head where I often joke dat your head looks like chicken ass. Dat be seal circle. You can't activate your Sharingan or have children as long as seal on you. Dis done to protect you from being killed for being born girl. At this there were many shouts of denial at what they just heard and the Kyuubi roared scaring everyone into silence and the Sandaime said are you sure Naruto that Sasuke is actually a girl? Naruto pulled out a kunai from his pocket and cut his hand and said take my blood, mix with hers, then place on da spiral on da back of her head and rub it in. Den have her flare her chakra for genjutsu release. Spirits tell me seal will shatter and reveal her real looks. I be only repeating what da spirits tell me. I already think of her as a bastard, now I learn she's a bitch. A bitch our parents wanted me to get freaky with, sorry, spirits tell me she's not bitch. She's just sensoritually frustrated and needs to get her rocks off. Spirits suggest that I show her why stamina better than strength. I don't care if she has to restore her clan and I have to restore 2 clans myself. What? You're telling me that Sasuke and Sakura are my teammates and our teacher is a porn addict who fails every genin team he is given because it messes with his porn time and we should have a threesome in front of him if we want to pass a real genin test. Cage bunshins can be used for what? Kinky. Sasuke and Sakura both went red in the face as nearly every eye looked at them and Naruto laughed and said dat be a good one spirits. Hey Gigi. Da spirits said dat I should make a deal with you. Da spirits said dat I should request a new sensei for my team. They suggest Anko be our sensei. Sasuke needs someone to help her understand her body since she's lived as a boy all dese years. Sakura's been claiming she's in love with Sasuke all dese years just found out the boy she loved as a girl. If she really loves Sasuke then her gender won't really matter. Either way, Sakura needs a strong female who's not afraid to put up and make Sakura shut up in order to make her a real ninja and not a fangirl. Da spirits are teaching me since no one else knows what I am learning so Kakashi could teach us dings but they wouldn't be the dings we need. Kakashi won't be reminded of his dead teammates and Konoha has a Junin who can go on any missions without restrictions. What do you say? Da spirits are willing if the bodies are able. The Sandaime who had for the last several minutes observed everything looked at Naruto and then at the rest of the genins and put his fingers to the bridge of his nose and said I am almost willing to bet that I know which spirits are talking to you and I fear for my sanity and the sanity of the people of Konoha if I am right. If I agree you promise not to destroy Konoha Naruto. If you're being taught by who I think you are then my fears are justified. Naruto said no problem man, the spirits want to make me strong because women love strong men. The spirits don't have much to do besides watch the living. They want excitement by having me get it on with several women who will brag about my skills the spirits are going to teach me. They want to make fun of the living by showing how stupid. Ask Anko, she seen my censored earlier. She said it biggest she ever seen when I asked her if she be wanting to ride it. Maybe that why most Hyuga angry when to see me and why Hinata faints. Perverts, all of them. I'm censored and I know it. Anko glared at Naruto a moment before she burst out laughing and said it was so big I don't think I could fit it between my legs. Gaki's packing. Naruto looked over at Sasuke and said, so Sasuke, you ready to trade your censored for censored? Causing Anko to burst out laughing again as she rolled across the ground and off the Hokage tower and Naruto screamed no. Naruto blinked in confusion as he found himself waking up in his bed in his apartment. It wasn't the waking up part that caused him to be confused. It was the fact that he was not alone in his bed. Looking to his left, he saw a woman with black hair and red eyes glaring at Naruto. Naruto blinked and then said, excuse me lady. I know this might be rude, but could you explain who the hell you are and why you are in my bed? A snicker from the direction of Naruto's door caused Naruto to turn away from the woman in his bed and look toward his bedroom door and saw Anko standing there and she said, hey Gaki, meet Kurenai, my roommate. She can't do much more than glare right now because I poisoned her, but it will wear off soon, but before it does I need your help to explain to her about why my curse seal is gone and why a clone of my bastard sensei appeared in our place. Naruto looked at Anko a moment and said I gave her an item that would destroy the seal by draining it off its chakra, creating a clone that would be easy to destroy. All other knowledge about it and why I helped her are Uzumaki clan secrets. Anko frowned and said you're going to have to give her more than that Gaki. Naruto looked at Anko and said Anko, I woke up nude with a strange woman in my bed. Do you really want me to talk about things I can give her? Both Anko and Kurenai's eyes widened as they heard this and Naruto said look, your elbow is pushing into my kidneys and I am starting to get a piss hard on. Do you mind getting her off me and getting out of my room so I can get dressed enough to go take a piss? Anko smirked and said scared to show your goodies.
Naruto looked at her a moment and said fine. As he closed his eyes a moment and then he opened his eyes and looked at Kurenai and said sorry, lady, but I got to piss. As he pushed Kurenai off him a little and then pushed the covers off him and both Anko and Kurenai's eyes widened as they saw Naruto's nude body and Naruto smirked as he stood up and said I told you I had a snake in my pants. As he walked past Anko and went to the bathroom.
Anko looked stunned and moved over to the bed and sat down and said in a shocked voice, did you see the size of his, damn. Naruto walked out of the bathroom a few minutes later and both Anko and Kurenai were sitting on his bed and both blinked as they looked at his still nude body in shock and Anko said what the hell, how did your package change size so much? Naruto smirked as he grabbed a pair of boxers and put them on and said think about the Akamichi clan. The reason they can change their body is because they are able to use yang chakra to alter their bodies. I can do the same thing to alter any part of my body I want, which is why when I used my censored jutsu on perverts they pass out because when I change my body is that of a woman, so I told Kurenai that I am to blame for what happened with removing your seal. Is there something else you need because I got a lot of things to do since I have to take my registration picture today? Kurenai said why, what is going on? Anko didn't mention anything about getting rid of her seal last night and she would have told me about that. Naruto looked at her a moment before moving his eyes to Anko and then back at Kurenai and he narrowed his eyes a moment and said she's more than just your roommate, isn't she Anko? Both women froze a moment and Anko said I don't know what you're talking about Gaki. Naruto snorts as he reached into his closet and got out his jumpsuit and said Anko, did you tell Kurenai about you dying and the only reason you're alive is because of an accidental time travel jutsu? With his back turned toward them. Kurenai's eyes widened and screamed what? What do you mean she died? What is he talking about? As she turned to look at Anko. Anko winced and glared at Naruto a moment and said did you have to tell her that? Naruto turned back around as he slipped on a black shirt after having already put on his pants and said if you're worried about my thoughts on you liking each other then don't. I'm more than okay with it. Kurenai glared at him and said with venom in her voice I bet you are. Naruto looked at her and said yeah, I am. Did you know that a person's soul does not have a gender? Our gender and species is nothing but the result of our parents' genetics. There have been women who have spent their life with a cat who she cared about more than a human. Men who had a dog they were more loyal to than their wife or loved just as much as their child. Love is not something you can control. You will love who you love and it is not restricted by gender, race, species, or even the living. I love someone who lives in the realm of the Shinigami now. She loved me like a brother, but if I could I would give up everything for her to be with her. Now the question I have is how serious are you to each other? Kurenai looked ready to say something when Anko put a hand on her shoulder and said very gaki. Naruto looked at her a moment and said fine. I'll be back in a moment. Kurenai, I don't know you and you don't know me. There is a lot more going on here than you know. There are things going on that could accidentally destroy everything you both have for each other, so I am going to let you know everything including the time travel stuff which was real. I'll explain more in a moment. As he left the bedroom, Kurenai looked at Anko with her right eyebrow raised and Anko said let the gaki explain first and then I'll try to explain also. Kurenai said are you sleeping with him? Anko said number. Naruto walked back into the room with 3 stones the size of his fist and said here. As he handed one to Anko and another to Kurenai. Anko said what's this gaki? Naruto said my great-grandmother was a Yamanaka. I've been taught how to do a few jutsu. One of them allows me to share my memories with others. Just hold the stones and I'll use them as focusers that will allow you to see through my eyes, now watch. Before Anko or Kurenai could say anything they saw Naruto walking around Training Ground 44 where Naruto met Anko. Both watched as Naruto offered her a deal and then the rest of the events that played out before Anko rolled off the roof and fell to the ground below and landed on her head killing herself. Once that was over Kurenai and Anko found themselves back in Naruto's apartment and Naruto looked at Anko and said you killed yourself, didn't you? It wasn't an accident when you rolled off. Looking back at the memory now I can tell. You could have saved yourself but you didn't. Anko frowned and Kurenai said it's because of me, wasn't it? I saw the look on the other me's face. I was pissed and probably felt betrayed because of the jokes about censored.
Anko looked down and nods her head and Kurenai put her arm around Anko's shoulder and pulled her close and began to whisper in her ear.
Naruto turned and walked out of the room and created a couple of cage bunshins that began to cook something to eat. 10 minutes later Kurenai and Anko walked out of the bedroom and saw Naruto sitting in front of a travel trunk and Anko said Gaki, can you make an amulet for Kurenai? I don't want to lose her. Naruto, who was looking through the items in the trunk, said the amulet I made you is specifically made to destroy the curse seal on your neck. I can make her an amulet that will allow her to remember the resets, but there is still a chance you could lose each other. Kurenai frowned and said what do you mean? Naruto said what if you decide to take a bath or a shower and take off the amulet and then slip on the wet floor hitting your head and killing yourself? The other would wake up today like his morning with no memory of all that has happened from this point forward. The amulets will only protect your memories if you are wearing them. While nobody but you can remove them, they can be cut off accidentally. That is why I am offering you both a chance to make sure that you won't ever lose each other. Anko asked what offer. Naruto looked at her and said I joked around about having kids and getting married but truthfully I doubt I will ever actually have anyone like that. I mean look at me. I'm in a 12-year-old body and I have the mind of someone a lot older. How old? I have no idea. I don't think I can actually relate to anyone my physical age. I could be wrong but I don't know. If Sally was here she would slap me hard. Before he let out a deep sigh. Shaking his head Naruto looked up at Anko and Kurenai and said if you want the amulets I'll make one for Kurenai but you will be taking your own risk like I mentioned. If you however want to make sure you don't lose each other then come back to my bedroom and I'll make you both Uzumakis by blood. Think it over because if you accept the blood option it can never be changed. As he put the items he had been working on back into the trunk and then closed it before standing up. Kurenai asks if we do the blood does that mean we have to have censored with you? Naruto looked at her and said no but you will pass out which is why I suggested the bedroom so you both can sleep on my bed while I go train. There is food over on the table you can eat while thinking it over. I already ate. As he walked toward the bedroom and took off his shirt before laying down on the bed and closed his eyes as he laid on his back facing the ceiling. 20 minutes later Anko and Kurenai walked into the bedroom and Anko said wake up Gaki. Naruto said I was meditating not sleeping, so which option do you want? Kurenai bit her lip before she said you swear you're not doing this just to have censored with us. Naruto looked at her and said if I wanted to have censored with you then what would stop me from trying to seduce you over and over again until I found the right combination to get with you? You would never have known because I would never have revealed the time travel aspect of my life. Now that you know about it, you will question is this nothing more than me trying to manipulate you which will put you off even more than you normally would. I can see physically why Anko likes you and why you like her, but I don't know you personally, and that will be something that will be important to me before I think about having censored with someone. Kurenai frowned and looked in thought a moment and said, what do you need to do in order to make us an Uzumaki? Naruto said, I told you that a soul does not have a gender. A soul also doesn't have a personality. It's a neutral being that is not good or evil.
Just a creation of its gathered memories. When someone dies, they live with the memory of their life until over time they forget about their past life and are then reborn in a new body and gain new memories and new personality. That is why I said I am okay with your relationship, because I understand that in a past life you could have been both men, a man and woman, two women, or even a deer and wolf, and I should have thought of a different example for the last one. As he rubbed his head,
Anko blinked and began to laugh, and Kurenai looked confused and said, what's so funny, Anko? Anko looked at Kurenai and said, I'm the wolf and you're the deer. Think about what we would have done and then think about our current life. I love me some deer meat. Kurenai blushed bright red and said, let's get back to what we were originally talking about. What all does this keeping our memories have to do with our souls? Naruto said, I'm going to anchor your souls. I'm going to have you drink a little of my blood, and then I need to place my hand on one of your chakra gates. The fifth gate, the gate of limit. I will then send my chakra through your body, which when it meets the Uzumaki blood in your body will begin to reproduce itself and mix with your blood. When this happens, my chakra will mix with yours, and since chakra is a combination of physical and spiritual energy, it will mix with your soul just enough to anchor your memories as long as I live, which means that as long as I don't die of old age, then you both will keep your memories and be basically immortal. But it also means that if one of you die, we all reset. Even if you die of old age, since I will live a longer life than you, that means you will be together for basically forever. Now are you sure you want to accept this? Kurenai bit her lip and said, what happens if we someday want to have a child? Naruto scratched the back of his head and said, that is actually why I am going to build a village somewhere and put a time lock on it. If you have a child with the amulet path, then when you reset, the child would be gone forever. If you do the blood path, then the child will be an Uzumaki and will keep their memories, but this is what will be different. A woman's body only has so many eggs, so you could only have so many children before you run out eggs. You know this, right? Anko snorts and said, of course we know that, Gaki. Naruto smirked and said, wrong. A woman's body has an infinite number of eggs. An egg is just a potential body for a soul to take. You have a limited number of potential bodies, but you do not have a limit on the number of children you can have. What I am basically saying is that over time you can have an infinite number of children. If you have a child and a reset happens, then the child would be reset back in time with us, but the child will be respawned where they were when the reset happened unless we anchor them somewhere. That is why I am going to make a rule that every child born to a blood member of the Uzumaki clan must give a few drops of blood from the child the day they are born. I will then add their blood to what I call a spawn stone. When a reset happens, they will instantly be summoned back to the location the spawn stone is. Most likely in the village I plan to build, and don't worry about having to get to village where the child would spawn. I'll be teaching you how to fast travel, which is something similar to reverse summoning and Shushin. I'll explain more later on that. Naruto wet his lips and said, the question you need to decide is what do you want to do about the child's sperm giver? I won't be able to bring them in as a blood member. Anko asked why not. Naruto said, it's a defense my bloodline has. Male to female and female to male. I can give them an amulet, but the risk they faced would be the same if one of you took it off and slipped in the shower. I know I could make enough amulets for the entire world, but why would I to most of the world? I am a demon, a monster, a freak, or a weapon. Why would I want to live with that kind of people for my entire life? That's something you both will have to decide as well. You Kurenai could be able to hide any connection to me, but Anko won't be able to explain how her curse seal is gone without revealing me, at least for now. Kurenai said, why couldn't we just give the guy we are with the bloodline after you give it to us? You said male to female and female to male. Naruto said, because my blood and chakra is acting as an anchor and will be absorbed by your soul. My blood is toxic without the chakra. If I gave you just the blood without my chakra, then you would die, because my blood would begin fighting your body thinking it's a poison or virus and will destroy the body from the inside out. That's why I know that even though I saw someone steal my mother's eggs from her body, that there is no way that I could have a sister or brother out there, because without my mom's chakra the eggs would destroy themselves and the woman they were put in. Anko put her hand on Kurenai's shoulder and said, it will be all right, Kurenai. We got time to think over it all and we both agreed to do this. Do you still want to do it now? Kurenai sighed and said yeah. Naruto said so, who wants to be first or do we do a threesome? With a smirk causing Kurenai to glare at Naruto and Anko to burst out laughing. Anko said you think you're man enough to do us both at the same time. Naruto was covered in smoke and suddenly revealed himself as a nude blonde woman and said are you woman enough to handle me? In a sultry female voice. Kurenai and Anko both looked at Naruto and then at each other and Kurenai flared her chakra and bit her lip before she said that's not a genjutsu. Naruto said just like I changed the shape of my wang also lets me change my thing. Anko smirked and said I think it's going to be fun having you around Gaki. Let's see if you can give me another orgasm. Change me to an Uzumaki but do it in that form. As she laid down on the bed. Naruto said your wish is my command. As she moved over toward the bed and Naruto's eyes widened as he felt a hand grab her rear and right censored before he turned and looked back at Kurenai who said I wanted to test how real that change was. With a smirk causing Naruto to pout which set Anko off. 20 minutes later Anko and Kurenai were both passed out having drank Naruto blood and flooded with his chakra. Naruto covered them both up and then left to go train. Meanwhile inside the seal on Naruto's stomach, Kurenai and Anko both appeared in what looked like a small village and teenage girl with brown hair and black eyes wearing a red shirt, brown pants and leather boots walked toward them and said hello and welcome to Sanctuary Kurenai and Anko, I am Leah and I will be your guide. Anko looked around and said what's going on? How did we get here? Leah said right now you both are a special type of cage bunshin. The real you are both still asleep on Naruto's bed in his apartment after having just joined the Uzumaki clan. When he flooded your bodies with his chakra, in order to keep you from being killed from chakra overload he absorbed your old chakra and used it to create the clone bodies you are both in now. This was done for several reasons I will be explaining later. First do you see that floating golden cube over there? Both Anko and Kurenai looked at the floating cube that was above a stone column and both women nod and Leah said that is the Kanai's cube or simply the cube. That cube is a link to your real self. If you touch it then all you learn here will be transferred to your original just like a regular Kage Bunshin dispelling but you won't dispel. When the real you learn Kage Bunshin they can create one and have it dispel and everything you know then will be transferred to the two of you so say you get ambushed and need help you could send a message to Naruto that way and if he's able he can come to you or send a message to another member of the Uzumaki clan who is closer to assist. Anko said so it's basically a long-range communication device. Leah said yes. Now let me introduce you to some of the others.
When I am not acting as a guide here, I have a cage bunch in exploring the world collecting books for the Uzumaki clan library that will be built soon. That there is Deckard Cain, my uncle, and he is our historian and lore master. His job is to record and recover the history of our family as well as research theories in order to discover the truth about things. Like me he has a cage bunch in the real world. If you have any questions about Naruto or our clan he is the one to speak with.
Both Anko and Kurenai nods their head as they looked at the old man sitting at a table writing. Leah lead them toward another man who was in golden armor and had darkish skin and the man said I am Tyrael. Leah giggled and said spend time with Uncle Deckard and you will know why I laughed. Anyways Tyrael is our master at arms. Tyrael will be sparring with you both in order to help learn your fighting styles and any advice he has gathered from fighting. He will also be your first teacher after our little tour is over because he will teach you how to use the Paragon system since your chakra is now that of an Uzumaki. You can talk with him more later, I have a few more people for you to meet. Kurenai asked where are we exactly and why are you here? Leah said we are in what used to be the Kyuubi seal. Sally when she was training Naruto, knew that there would be a danger of Naruto going insane over his long lifetime so she taught him in order to keep his memories straight to create a mental construct whose job it is, to handle different aspects of his life. Tyrael his combat knowledge, I am his general knowledge, Uncle Deckard is his theories and historical knowledge, we also have Kadala, Hadrig, Shen, Miriam, Greed, and Adria so far. Kurenai asked who are they and what do they do? Leah pointed to a woman with a purple dress and a staff and said that's Miriam. She's our mystic. She's in charge of runes, enchanting, warding, cloth dyes, poisons, medicine, and sealing. Leah then pointed toward a man with black hair dressed in a blacksmith apron, brown pants and a white shirt and said that's Hadrig, our blacksmith and tailor. Any clothing, weapon, or armor that Naruto or one of his clones discovers how to make he learns and then can help reproduce. Leah turned and pointed toward a short old man with brown cloths and a red headband and said that is Shen, our gem master. He's in charge of gem research and enchantment. I know that Miriam does most of our enchantments, but what Shen does can be extremely valuable or extremely dangerous, so we don't want to mix his research with hers. Just then a short fat treasure goblin came running by and grabbed a few gems off Shen's table and ran off, and Leah sighed and said that's greed. He's the mastermind behind the treasure goblins, and all of us are sure he's also in charge of the part of Naruto mind that's an evil dictator who wants world domination. We leave him alone and limit his knowledge, and he leaves us alone mostly as part of a contract Naruto created when he created greed. Anko asked why would he create a contract with a part of himself. Leah looked at her and said, remember the conversation you had with Naruto about children and souls. How a soul is genderless and is a product of their memories. Each of us here are different individuals. We all had the same start, but with the memories and jobs we were assigned we each became a new personality. Just like the two of you. Right now you different than your original because of the memories you have gained here while they are asleep. When you use the cube you will trade memories, so you will stay close to your original but will slightly be different because they are out there and you are here. Those of us created by Naruto don't have an original. We are individuals created by him who can be destroyed by him with a single thought. He created contracts with us to let us keep our individuality and our purpose in life. We are alive and we get the memories of our clone self he helped create for us as part of his deal. It's a partnership. That is why he created contracts with us. Anko bit her lip and said, I think I understand. So you're saying that greed is an evil dictator. Leah said, either that or censoring pirate. Kurenai giggled and said, can you imagine one of those treasure goblins running around with an eye patch and a parrot? Just then a puff of smoke appeared in front of Kurenai and there stood Greed, who said, great idea my lady. Here, a treasure for a treasure. As he handed her one of the gems he took from Shen. Kurenai took the gem and watched as Greed ran off, and Leah said, you shouldn't have accepted that. Kurenai blinked and asked why. Leah said, he made a trade with you. He never gives anything away for free. If you're wondering what he traded you, well, your back's going to be hurting here in a little while with you bouncing around everywhere. Kurenai blinked and Anko gasped and said, Nia, he took your bra. Kurenai's eyes widened as she looked down and then looked around and said, where is that little pervert? Leah said, he could be anywhere by now. Just go to Hedrig and get a new one made later. Now on with the tour. I've pointed out almost everyone but Kadala, and my mother Adria. Saying the last with venom. Anko looked at Leah and said, why do you say your mother's name like that, and how the hell can she be your mother and that old man your uncle? Leah said, our original looks and personalities Naruto wanted us to have were based on characters from a game that him and Sally played together. There's a copy of the game over there in that white shrine-looking building. You can play it and you will understand more of Naruto's actions and skills once you do, but as for Adria, she is our spy master. She's basically your village's Danzo. She can't lie, but she can withhold information if it suits her. Right now she has thousands of spies running around the village of Konoha and her sphere of influence is growing larger by the moment. If you see a spider somewhere in the village, there's a chance the spider is actually a spy working for Adria. Kurenai's eyes widened and said, she's spying on the village. Leah said yes. It started with just the Hokage tower, but now she's got a dozen spy centers created in the village that Naruto has no knowledge of. Anyways, Kadala is our merchant. If you need something bought, traded, sold, or crafted and none of the others could help you get it, then she's the one to go to. Anyways, I think that will be all of the tour for now. I need to update with my Cage Bunshin self, and you need to speak with Tyrael so you can update your other self so they can start training to use the Paragon system. As she lead them over to Tyrael and then left. Tyrael said, welcome Nephilim. There is much to do if we are bring world peace. Let's begin your training. Anko looked at Kurenai and said, do you ever think we might have made a mistake? Kurenai just glared at her. Naruto thought, nice. The reverse summoning seals worked. I wonder how long it will take before the village tries to find and kill me. Several hours later, Naruto was running through the street with several dogs chasing him and thought, damn it. My young henjas don't cover up scents, so Kiba's clan was able to find the real me. As he kept running with the dogs and several ninjas who looked like him also chased him, screaming at him and cursing him. Thanks.